Hi everybody, this is Josh from ICE Accelerate. So in today's blog post, I wanted to show you a bit about the Campaign Builder inside Infusionsoft. I wanted to give you some good training, but I also wanted to start by discussing some of the challenges that I've seen in consulting with different business owners or different people within small businesses that are using Infusionsoft and are just very challenged with using the Campaign Builder. So one of the first challenges that I've typically seen is just the fear of technology, getting comfortable with technology, and specifically with Infusionsoft, because Infusionsoft is fairly complex. There's a lot of different features, a lot of different benefits that businesses can access using Infusionsoft. And so typically I've seen a lot of people very just afraid of just jumping in and starting to build within Infusionsoft, specifically the Campaign Builder. And the Campaign Builder, the way I see it, it's pretty much the heart of Infusionsoft. Now, another thing that I've also seen that a lot of business owners or individuals operating Infusionsoft at different small businesses is they typically also have a hard time with taking into account all possibilities, because Infusionsoft's a very powerful, very effective system, very robust, and you can take into account every possibility using this specific rule. If this happens, then this happens. Simple as that. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of things to account for when you're thinking about building your funnel or building a workflow process, and taking into account all those different possibilities if this happens and this happens. So that's another challenge that I see a lot of business owners or individuals using Infusionsoft having a hard time with. Wrapping your head around it, it can get very confusing. And that's how come maybe out there you've heard Confusionsoft being tossed around. And it's because it can get very complex. And this is how I prepare myself and how I prepare my clients if they're doing some of their own campaign building, to properly take into account all possibilities while keeping everything as simple-minded as possible, is planning effectively. And that kind of leads to my next point when it comes to challenges with the Campaign Builder, is that a lot of times people fail to properly plan. They just jump in and they try to build, and then they get confused and they get lost and they get overwhelmed and frustrated, and then they get nothing done, or it just takes a very long time to get something done. So I do a few different things when I'm planning with my clients to build out their campaigns. I've used Glyphy, and I have an example here to show you. Glyphy is free for up to, I believe, 3 diagrams. And here's an example of essentially a funnel flowchart that I built out in Glyphy that I will then take over and kind of build within Infusionsoft. So this is a very effective visual planning tool when you're trying to develop marketing campaigns or workflow processes within Infusionsoft. MindMeister is not bad as well. MindMeister is pretty cool. You can take into account, as you can see here with one of my examples here, you can take into account many different things when you're building out flowcharts within MindMeister that you can then translate into Infusionsoft's Campaign Builder. And then finally, there's also just classic pen and paper and just drawing it out. It's very simple, yet very effective. I've also seen the use of spreadsheets, and spreadsheets are also, again, very simple, very effective. Either way, I highly recommend using some sort of planning process and tool before you jump in and start building campaigns within Infusionsoft. It's going to make the campaign building much more smooth and much more effective when it comes to the use of your time when you do jump into Infusionsoft and start using the Campaign Builder. Okay, so let's get started with some of the more technical aspects of building campaigns within Infusionsoft. So I'm in a sandbox account here that I have access to. I'm going to go ahead and go into campaigns. I'm going to add a campaign. And this is going to be fairly basic. It's not going to be advanced, just so you know. If you want more advanced training, you can always inquire further about speaking with us. But this is just covering the basics, so this way you can start, as a user of Infusionsoft, you can start tapping into some of the potential that you have you're sitting on with Infusionsoft. Okay, so let's cover just first and foremost just the functionality. Now, Infusionsoft unlike some of the more simpler email marketing solutions like Aweber, MailChimp, etc., Infusionsoft is much more than that. Infusionsoft can definitely do what those systems do, but can also just set up very, very effective but very complex, marketing funnels that are existing on the outside of your business. What I mean by that is, let's just say customer-facing activities, lead generation, follow-up, converting into sales automatically, all sorts of stuff on the front end for your leads, for your customers. Also, it can help you build out workflow processes for your internal systems. That's, again, what makes Infusionsoft so valuable and so powerful, because typically a business owner's goals and priorities are to put systems in place and build revenue. And putting systems in place is a key part of why Infusionsoft has so much value for small businesses, because that allows you to scale and grow versus hiring other people, which is more costly. So with Infusionsoft, you can set up automated workflows for your internal staff that can give you tasks, they can give you send emails to contacts or to internal staff, can also set up trainings for your internal staff. I'm just touching the iceberg. I'm basically just tipping the iceberg here as far as what you can do. But you can build out workflow processes so this way your staff has something to lean on to help them accomplish whatever it is that their responsibilities are on a consistent daily basis. Finally, on top of that, this kind of dovetails into it a bit, but sales pipelines for sales staff, that's another aspect of building campaigns within Infusionsoft that you can access. Mostly though, what you're going to be using the Campaign Builder for is for sales and marketing processes. That's going to help you capture more leads, follow up with more leads, give them the right message at the right time, convert those leads into customers, follow up with those customers and just really blow them away with your follow-up, stay top of mind with them, offer them additional opportunities to purchase additional products or services from you, and also generate referrals. Okay, so let's get started here. So on the right here with the UI, the user interface, you've got traffic sources. All these icons, they don't technically do anything. They're there just for planning purposes. So if, for example, you have a newsletter opt-in on your blog, well, then this icon would be perfect for that, because this tells you that traffic is going to be from your blog as you're building this process out. Now, you could also edit any of these. Actually, you could edit any of these icons, just so you know, when you drag and drop it into the builder, just by double-clicking on the actual text and then, of course, typing in your own text. So let's just say that you've got a blog here that could be, again, one traffic source, and then here's all your goals. Again, all these icons, they're there just for visual purposes. You can use any single one of these goals for any type of goal that you're trying to set up. So I'm just going to drag and drop this over here, and then you can just click, drag, connect the line. There you go. So on the bottom left here, this is where you change the type of goal. Okay, so I just clicked on that. And now it says this goal is achieved when a contact, and you click the drop down, you have several different options. You've got submits a web form, and this could be, again, the opt-in. Submits a landing page form. This allows you to build a landing page within Infusionsoft. Clicks a link. Now, this wouldn't apply if it's coming directly from a blog, but let's just say you have a goal attached to an email series and you want to automate actions if someone clicks a link that you're pointing them to. That's where this would come in. Reaches a score. So lead scoring is a highly valuable feature of Infusionsoft that you can set up, and you can basically set up tags and other triggers that add points or reduce points to a contact record. And then when a contact record reaches a specific lead score, you can automate actions off of that. A simple example for that would be, let's just say that you have lead scoring set up and you have also a sales staff. And when lead score reaches, say, 4 or 5 flames, you can then trigger an automated task to be pushed out to the contact owner's rep. Okay? So that's where that comes in. Purchases a product. If you are using the e-commerce of Infusionsoft, and most people use Infusionsoft are using the e-commerce, you can also run transactions from Infusionsoft either on an internal level or an external level, like on your website. So you can have a purchase goal here. For example, if I doubt this will happen, but if you have a blog post and you are giving an offer in the blog post that links to a checkout page and then the purchase of product A, this goal could be the purchase of product A. Okay, here are more internal goals. So if someone internally that's using Infusionsoft submits an internal form, that's the first goal. If someone completes a task, if someone moves an opportunity, if someone applies a note, and you can set up note templates, which are templatized notes, so this way someone doesn't have to customize every single note. If there's for example, if you've got a sales rep that leaves a message, instead of having to create a new note every time you leave a message, you can have a note template that says left message 1, and they can just easily drop it into the contact record after they've called and left a voicemail for a contact, and that will trigger whatever actions you have set up here if you're using that goal type here in a campaign. Applies a tag. Now, anytime you apply a tag, whether it's manually, and what I mean by that is if you're in a contact record and you group up a contact with a group that you have set up, or if you have just in your automated processes and your systems within Infusionsoft, at some point you're applying a tag automatically when something happens, like for example, if an email is open, then you can trigger actions off of this goal type. And then integration. Infusionsoft integrates with Grow Social, which is a social media marketing platform. It's a great platform, very user-friendly, and it works hand-in-hand with Infusionsoft. You can also do Twitter lead gen cards. So Twitter advertising right now is booming. It's actually continuing to boom. It's probably going to compete with Facebook for quite some time. And they have a great feature for advertising where if you're advertising on Twitter, you can actually put a button on Twitter, and if someone sees your ad and they like the ad and like the offer, they can just click the button and boom, they are submitting their information to you, and then it comes into Infusionsoft directly from Twitter. That's where that comes in. It's a great opt-in, high conversion method. Okay, and then API call. So just about anything is possible with Infusionsoft because of the fact that there's an open API. I won't get too technical here, but basically the API allows developers to connect Infusionsoft to other systems that have APIs, and so therefore they can create almost any sort of possibility between Infusionsoft and a third-party system. Okay, so that's how goal types work. Okay, now I'm also gonna attach a sequence. So in this case, what I have is on your blog, you've got to sign up for a newsletter web form, and then when the web form is filled out, they go into this sequence. Okay? And then finally, you have notes here. Now notes, this is just for you as a user. So if you want to just leave some notes here, so this way if you jump back into the campaign and you want to have some notes that you can rely on, possibly to remind you of what the campaign does, for example, you can leave notes and you can create very complex, very long, very big notes. And for the technical people out there, this is actually, it can use HTML as well. So if you wanted to type in some HTML, or you could do that within these note boxes. Okay. All right. So I covered with you just the UI of the campaign builder. Now, there's also a UI when you jump into the sequences that you're building out. So I'm going to double click on the untitled sequence there. Okay, so here's the UI on the right. So you have different timers here you can use. You can start several different things happening all at once whenever that goal that is previous to this sequence is accomplished. So you can have as many paths starting as you'd like. Now, you also have different timers here. You've got a delay timer, which is delays before the next action. You've got date timer, which is the date that the next action will occur. And then you've got field timers, which are custom fields within Infusionsoft. For example, if you're doing appointment dates and appointment times, and you're using Infusionsoft's custom fields and into contact records to note when a contact has scheduled a consultation, for example, and a specific date and specific time. That can be 2 different custom fields, and you could automate actions based off of that date field in the appointment. Okay. All right, communications. You have different communications here. You've got email, you've got voice broadcast, you've got fax. If you have Infusionsoft connected to, or your computer, I should say, connected to a printer, you can actually print out to a printer and then put a task out for someone to fax a document. You also have letters. It doesn't automate letters going out, but you can again follow that same process where you're printing out a letter and then someone internally can actually send that letter out. Okay, and then you also have process actions here. You can apply or remove a tag, you can apply a note, you can create a task, you can assign an owner, you can create an opportunity, you can also create a fulfillment list, you can send an HTTP post. This is a little bit more advanced. Advanced users, if they're, for example, triggering an action hosted on another server or an action in another third-party software, that's where HTTP posts might come in. And then action sets. Action set, you can do several different things with the action set. It's very, very hard to talk about in a short blog post, but essentially that's a legacy feature. So for the most part, most new users to Infusionsoft won't even bother with the action set action here underneath the process tab within the sequence builder. Okay, and you could also leave notes just like inside the campaign builder. Thanks again for stopping by and Accelerate Marketing Automation Services blog. I hope that you received a lot of quality training on how the campaign builder within Infusionsoft works and how to plan effectively and tackle some of the challenges revolving around building campaigns and workflow processes within Infusionsoft. Feel free to come back next week. Every week we offer great content targeted towards small businesses to help them succeed. A little bit about us, we help small businesses accelerate their business growth and scale their business through Infusionsoft and digital marketing services. Please leave your comments below if you have any questions. I will respond because I have a passion for helping you. We always offer complimentary consultations as well, so feel free to click the link below to schedule a time with us to help you build out revenue-generating campaigns and scalable systems for you, so this way you can blow away your competition. Again, thanks for stopping by. Come back next week.